Hello everyone. Thank you all for watching the video and leaving such heartfelt comments. Wishing the whole family good health and peace. Hello everyone, Diep here. Thank you all for your continuous support and care throughout the time. I wish everyone great health and happiness. I hope you enjoy watching this video and feel relaxed. Today, let's continue Diep's journey towards becoming a doctor. Diep sat by the stove, deeply engrossed in the book that James had given her. Her mother sat beside her, watching her read, and then gently asked, "What are you reading, my dear?" Diep looked up with a gentle smile. "I'm learning about some medicinal herbs, Mom. This book was bought for me by James. It has a lot of interesting remedies, especially with plants that I'm familiar with like the yam root. I often see it growing in the mountains. It's used to treat heart arrhythmias and fatigue caused by weak kidneys." Her mother nodded as she listened. "I see there are many familiar plants, but we didn't know they could be used for medicine like this Hoi Dao Tao plant. I didn't know it could treat stomachaches and indigestion." Diep continued to flip through the book, reading with enthusiasm. "Mulberry leaves are also used as medicine, Mom. You can use the leaves, stems, and even the roots to treat various diseases. And this plant, the Vietnamese coriander, I remember it's often grown in the fields. It can treat constipation, fever in children, abscesses, bronchitis, and even kidney stones." Diep paused and handed the book to her mother. "Look at this, Mom. They also explain how to use Vietnamese coriander for treating coughs. Just take a handful of fresh coriander, wash it, crush it, and boil it with rice water. Drink the decoction after each meal." Her mother smiled at her daughter, filled with pride. "I'm so happy to see you working so hard, Diep. I hope you can help others just like I do." Diep smiled back and nodded. "I hope so, Mom. I'll study hard so I can help people when I grow up." Suddenly the lights went out. Her mother looked around in worry. "Oh no, the power's out. What should we do now?" Diep stood up and quickly went to fetch the oil lamp. "I'll light the oil lamp for you, Mom." She went to light it and brought it back to the room. She turned back to her mother with a smile. "You go rest, I'll keep studying a bit more." Her mother replied softly, "Go ahead, I'll rest now." Diep sat back down and looked out the window, deep in thought. She remembered her past struggles. "I'm an orphan without parents or a home, but I still have dreams. I want to live a full life just like anyone else. Even though I come from a poor, remote place, I really want to do something useful for this world." She thought about helping others. "I just want to be able to help those who are more in need than I am." Diep continued to read the book, reflecting on the plants around her. She realized how many of them could heal people. "I'll learn everything about these herbs so I can help others. I want to contribute to the community, to ease the suffering of those who are struggling." She whispered to herself, "That's why I want to understand the medicinal plants more, to know how they work." Her mother looked at her daughter reading and felt a deep sense of happiness. She was proud of Diep's determination and her desire to make a difference. Just then a phone call came in. It was James. "Hello, Diep, what are you doing?" "I'm with Mom, gathering medicine for the villagers," Diep replied. "That's great. Did the book help you? What do you think of it?" "Yes, it did help. The book is very detailed. It explains many of the remedies that Mom knows, but it's clearer and has more information than what she learned from others. There are also many new remedies I didn't know about, but I'm starting to understand them now," Diep explained. "That's great. Are you and your mom heading to the village now?" "Yes, we are. We're getting ready to deliver the medicine to the villagers." "Diep, I'm going on a charity trip this afternoon. Would you like to come with me?" Diep hesitated for a moment. "I'm not sure because Mom and I are going to distribute the medicine, and I don't know when we'll finish. But if I have time, I'll join you." "That's fine, go ahead and do your work. If you can come, just call me. I'll pick you up." Diep thanked him and hung up the phone, then turned to her mother. "James mentioned a charity event today, and I'd like to go help others." Her mother smiled at her. "That's great, my dear. If you can, you should go. But if you're tired, don't push yourself too hard." Diep held her mother's hand. Then they continued their work. "Mom, I'll keep studying and help people. That's my dream." They both continued their work, united in their hope of making the world a better place. "Mom, let's go home and then I'll go with James," Diep said, determined to help. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm golden hue across the mountains, Diep and her mother set out on their daily journey. Their village was small, nestled between the lush hills, where the rhythm of life was slow, and the people cherished the simple joys of nature. But despite the serene beauty, there was an underlying struggle for many villagers: chronic pain, illness, and hardships that weighed heavily on them. Diep, a young woman with a heart full of compassion, had always wanted to make a difference. Her journey was a challenging one, from being a poor orphan without family to slowly learning the ways of healing. Now, with the knowledge passed down from her mother and the books that James had gifted her, Diep was more determined than ever to help those around her. The two women walked through the village, their arms laden with bundles of medicinal herbs and healing remedies that they had carefully gathered over the past few days. Their mission was simple but profound: to heal the sick, provide relief to the elderly, and offer comfort to those who could not afford to seek help in distant hospitals. As they reached the first house, an elderly woman greeted them at the door with a tired smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Lon. How are you feeling today?" Diep asked, her voice soft and gentle. The elderly woman shook her head, the pain in her eyes obvious. "I'm better than before, Diep, but my joints still hurt. It's getting harder to walk every day. I wish I could do more, but it's hard with these old bones," she replied. Diep knelt down beside her, her eyes full of empathy. "Let me see. I've brought some medicine from the plants I've learned about. I know it's been difficult, but with a bit of patience we can make things better," Diep reassured her. With steady hands, Diep prepared a mixture of herbs, grinding them together to create a poultice. As she applied it to Mrs. Land's swollen joints, she could feel the tension in the room lift. Her mother, sitting quietly beside them, smiled softly. She had always been the one to help the villagers, passing on the knowledge of herbal medicine to her daughter. Now Diep was the one offering comfort and healing. After a moment, Mrs. Lon looked up, her eyes brighter. "Thank you, Diep. I already feel some relief. I'll keep taking the medicine. You've really helped me today," she said, her voice filled with gratitude. Diep smiled warmly, nodding. "I'm happy to help. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need anything else. I'm learning every day, and I want to make sure you and everyone else can live without pain." They moved on to the next house, where an elderly man named Mr. Bin was waiting. He had suffered from high blood pressure and constant headaches for years. His health had been deteriorating, and he had long given up hope of finding a cure. "Good morning, Mr. Bin. How are you feeling today?" Diep asked, concern etched on her face. Mr. Bin smiled weakly, his face pale. "It's been tough, Diep. My blood pressure is still high, and the headaches come and go. But I can't afford to go to the city for treatment. I don't know what to do anymore." Diep's mother stepped forward, placing her hand gently on his shoulder. "You've been through a lot, Mr. Bin. But don't worry, we're here to help. Diep has been studying the herbs and remedies from the books I gave her. We'll find something that can help you." Diep nodded, pulling out a small bag filled with carefully labeled herbs. She showed Mr. Bin how to brew a tea that could help lower his blood pressure and relieve his headaches. As the warm tea filled the air with its calming scent, Mr. Bin's tense shoulders relaxed. "Try this for a week, Mr. Bin. I've also written down some other remedies that can help manage your condition," Diep said kindly. Mr. Bin took the tea, his hands shaking slightly, but there was hope in his eyes. "Thank you, Diep. You've given me hope again. I didn't think there was anything left for me, but now, maybe I can feel better." As they continued their rounds, visiting house after house, treating conditions like arthritis, insomnia, and even minor infections, Diep could feel the weight of their work. Each grateful smile, each sigh of relief was a reminder of why she had chosen this path. At one house, two elderly women greeted them, both suffering from the same chronic back pain. They had been using traditional medicine, but it hadn't been enough. Diep carefully examined them, listening to their stories of pain, then prepared a soothing herbal balm. She applied it to their backs, rubbing gently, her hands filled with care and compassion. "You'll feel the relief soon, I promise. But keep drinking the herbal teas and doing the stretches I've shown you," Diep instructed. As she finished, the two women looked at her, their faces softening. "You've given us hope, Diep. Thank you for being so kind to us," one of them said. "You're very welcome," Diep replied, her heart full. They finished their rounds by visiting one last house, where a woman in her 50s had been struggling with joint pain for years. She had heard about Diep's work from the other villagers and was eager to try the remedies. After Diep applied the herbal balm, she offered advice on diet and exercise. "With regular treatment, you should feel much better," Diep said. "But remember, patience is key. Healing takes time." As they walked back through the village, the sun was beginning to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange. Diep felt a deep sense of fulfillment. "Thank you, Mom," Diep said softly as they walked together. "For everything. For teaching me, for supporting me. I think we're making a difference." Her mother smiled, her eyes filled with pride. "You're doing so well, Diep. I'm proud of you. You're not just learning about herbs. You're learning to care for people. And that's the most important thing." Diep nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I hope one day I can help even more people. I want to make sure that no one has to suffer in silence like we did before." They continued their walk back home, the air cooling as night fell. Diep knew this was just the beginning of her journey. She had found her calling, and with her mother's wisdom and the knowledge she had gained, she was determined to heal as many people as she could, one person at a time. And as they walked, Diep couldn't help but feel that the village, once a place of silence and struggle, was slowly becoming a community of healing and hope, thanks to the love and dedication she and her mother shared with those in need. On the other side, James was getting ready for the charity event, preparing gifts to distribute to families in need. His phone rang and he picked up immediately. "Hello, this is James. The gifts are all ready," he said into the phone. "Great. We're waiting for you here. Once you're ready, come join us and we'll head out together," came the reply. "Got it. I'll be there shortly. Hang tight for me," James confirmed before hanging up. Meanwhile, at the house, Diep turned to her mother. "Mom, you head home first. I'll stay here and wait for James, then go with him," Diep said, seeing her mother preparing to leave. "All right, take care and be careful out there," her mother replied, giving her a warm smile. As Diep stood waiting, she received a call from James. "Hello, Diep. It's James." "Hi, James. I finished up here. I'm waiting at the gate. See you soon," she said, her voice bright and eager. "All right, I'll be there shortly," James responded, his voice carrying a reassuring tone. A short while later, Diep called again. "I'm glad we finished early. I've called you just in time. Are we running late?" Diep asked. "Not at all. It's the perfect time. Farmers usually have their midday break around now," James answered with a chuckle. "I see. I'm glad I caught you just in time," Diep laughed. "For this charity trip, I didn't notify the villagers beforehand. Instead, I've contacted a different charity group to help organize it. But we'll go together and see how we can help," James explained. "All right, let's go then," Diep said eagerly. James was on his way to meet Diep, and after a short while he arrived. "Hey Jung, did you have to wait long?" "I've just gotten here," James said as he reached the meeting point. "No problem. We've got everything ready. Have you already surveyed the village?" Jung asked. "Yes, we've done the survey. There are only 9 families in the village today, and it's just me from our team. The rest are helping in other villages," Jung replied. "Let's get the supplies on the truck and head over," James said as he helped unload the donations. The road to the village was difficult to navigate, but they pressed on. "Is the village far from here, Jung?" James asked. "It's about 14 kilometers, all dirt roads. It's not the easiest to get there, so it will take us some time," Jung answered. "I see. But it's good that we're helping, right?" James smiled. "Yes, the villagers here have so many challenges, and the roads make it even harder. They need help, and our charity work today will make a difference," Jung said. As they continued their journey, Diep spoke up, looking out at the view. "I've never been to places like this before. The hardship is clear. I can't imagine how difficult it must be for the villagers to get by," she said, her voice filled with empathy. "You're right. It's not easy for them. But with our charity coming here, it brings hope. They're very grateful for any help we can give," James said thoughtfully. The road was bumpy and winding, but the team was determined to help the villagers. After some time, they reached their destination. "We're almost there. Just 1 kilometer left," Jung announced. "This is the village we're here to help today. Let's park the cars here and head in on foot," James said as they arrived. They unloaded the supplies and the team divided the goods, bags of food, medicine, and other essentials, into smaller portions to distribute to the villagers. "We'll divide these up and make sure every family gets their share," James instructed. As they approached the homes, the villagers came out to meet them. They greeted the team with warmth and gratitude. "Hello everyone. We've brought a little something for you all," James said as he handed over the first bags of supplies. The villagers expressed their thanks, and the team continued to distribute the items. James and Diep both felt a sense of fulfillment knowing they were helping ease the burdens of these families. "Thank you for your generosity," one of the elderly villagers said, holding out a grateful hand. "You're very welcome. We're happy to help," Diep replied, her heart full of compassion. After the gifts were handed out, James and Diep took a moment to reflect on the day's work. "It's amazing how much of a difference we can make, isn't it?" Diep said, her voice soft. "Yes, it is. But there's so much more to be done. We need to keep going," James replied, looking ahead with determination. They spent the rest of the afternoon helping the villagers, knowing that their small efforts would make a lasting impact. The roads were hard, but their resolve to help was even stronger. As the day came to an end, James and Diep said their goodbyes and left the village, their hearts light with the knowledge that they had made a real difference in the lives of those who needed it most. "We'll be back," James promised as they drove off, heading home, ready to continue their mission to help those in need.
Thường gắn liền với các dân tộc thiểu số, mỗi dân tộc có những phong tục tập quán riêng biệt. Dưới đây là một số phong tục tập quán phổ biến ở vùng núi. Lễ hội truyền thống, các dân tộc thiểu số ở vùng núi thường tổ chức gầu tàu của người Mông, lễ hội lồng tồng của người Tày, tập quán cưới hỏi. Phong tục cưới hỏi ở vùng núi thường rất đặc sắc, như việc tổ chức lễ cưới tập thể, lễ cưới truyền thống với nhiều nghi thức phức tạp, việc sử dụng các loại nhạc cụ truyền thống trong tang lễ, sản xuất nông nghiệp. Người dân vùng núi thường sống dựa vào sản xuất nông nghiệp như trồng lúa, trồng ngô, trồng sắn. Tập quán mặc trang phục của người dân vùng núi thường mặc các trang phục truyền thống